Hi, everyone. Hey, welcome, everyone. It's good to see you today. Happy Sunday. Thank you for joining. Hey, Yada's in the house.
How are
Hey,
you guys?
good to see you. Hi,
Thanks.
everyone. Come on in. Good to see everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll see you inside in just a minute. We're letting people in. And this is our Sunday Q&A. And we're looking at lessons. If you're looking at lessons and you have questions about the lessons, we're looking at lessons 17 to 23 or 24. And we're also just allowing, or I'm inviting questions about anything that you want to have questions on in the course or non duality or how those two fit together. I'm happy to answer any questions for you. I'm really enjoying these workbook lessons. I'm following them every day with you, the non-dual lessons. And my friend Bonnie is texting me and letting me know if there's glitches. Thank you, Bonnie, for that because I haven't looked at these lessons in 18 months, so I don't know those glitches are there. And like I'm going to re-record 19. I re-recorded 12 the other day, so I'll pick up those ones that have those little airtime glitches, and I'll just re-record them. So you'll know the new recordings when you see this new background used. That'll be the telltale for you. Today is the playoffs are happening, so I'm vicariously watching the Buccaneers play the let's see, who are they playing today? Oh, the Los Angeles Rams. So I'm not watching that, but other people are. I love the football season playoffs, and I don't have Tom Brady's with the Buccaneers, so we moved down to Florida for him. Uh, Thank you all for being here. Let's just start this experience, this Q&A experience, with the bringing our attention to awareness, to the awareness of experience. This is where everything happens. Just it's that easy to shift our attention from the thoughts that we're thinking, the words that my voice is saying, images of football or images of relationships, images of a bodysuit life. We mostly stay in default with that experience of the personal self identity. And when we give our attention, when we just move our attention to awareness, am I aware of this experience right here? Am I aware of this experience? Well, you can't have this experience without being aware of it. So, first of all, awareness is always occurring. It's always in the background of all experience. It's always happening. And we mostly don't know that's what we are. We mostly don't know that that is our identity. That is what the Course is pointing to when it says Christ vision is talking about awareness. When Jesus said 2,000 years ago that the kingdom of heaven is within, that's within. The awareness of love's presence is awareness. Awareness is within, and that's what the awareness of love's presence is. And that's why when we look at these Course in Miracles lessons and we begin to reinterpret or at least relanguage some of the words that are used, we can have the direct experience that many of you have been writing to me about, that, oh my God, I'm seeing the Course in a whole new way after looking at it for 25 years or for 3 years or for 10 times, whatever. When you bring it in with a different interpretation, it allows you as awareness to experience what it's pointing to as pure presence, as your essential self, as your true nature. And I didn't know this was my goal when I started doing these non-dual workbook lessons, but it just it just happened. It just unfolded that way, and now I'm seeing that it's becoming of great benefit to a lot of people and many of you. And as we just rest our attention on awareness, excuse me while I cleared my throat. As we give our attention on awareness as the awareness of experience, right? Just allow awareness to be what it is, and you can close your eyes if you want. And if I ask you, what is it that is aware of this experience? What is aware of this experience? You can't really give it a name, but you can notice when that question is asked that you look for the answer and all you find is awareness itself. And if I ask you if this awareness has a gender, you search for it instantly, you can see that this awareness doesn't have a gender. And if I ask you, does this awareness have an age? Instantly, okay, there's no age involved, yet awareness is. It's aware of all experiences. And you can open your eyes if they're closed and just allow this awareness to be the pervading experience you're giving your attention to. It's always in the background. You can't help but have awareness, but be awareness. And then the activities of the bodysuit, of the mind, they come and go. Thoughts, feelings, sensations, emotions, they come and go. Awareness stays exactly as it always is. Even as these experiences occur, awareness is always on the field. And this is your primary place of respite. It's a primary place. It's where when you pause and you rest in awareness, that's where you'll find the comfort and inner peace that resolves conflict. It resolves discomfort. It resolves emotional upsets. It just resolves it. It melts it right where it is when you rest in awareness. And you know the old, I would have friends when I was growing up, they'd carve on a piece of wood what a tombstone would look like and put RIP on it. So that's what we're doing. We're resting in peace without the tombstone. And I think that's kind of funny how that, because I like to use the idea of resting in awareness with my hand on heart and just, that's just a sweet place of resting in this inner sanctuary of beingness. And when we do that, we all go to the same place. Why? Because there's only one place. There's only one self. There's only one being. And it is in this resting place of awareness. This is where God is. This is what God is. It's not that we're going to come into this place and, oh, there's God. No, God is in this place of aware presence. We have that right now. We have it in any instant. That's what the teaching of the holy instant is offering to us. That holy instant is that instant of glimpsing the self-awareness, self-presence. God's infinite being is found right here. And we're going to take questions whenever you want to raise your hand, and we'll go into the Q&A period. We'll be here until 4 o'clock. Meg, thank you for that awesome note in the member area. That was beautiful. You've been writing notes to me. I appreciate that, and I can only say when I see the thank yous, I can only say thank you for your notes, and thank you, presence, our beingness, our joined infinite self, for this kind of inspiration and the gathering, and for everybody. We have, I don't know how many are on YouTube, but we have almost 60 here during a playoff game, no less. Bonnie, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say first that when I give you those notes, it was because I was like hanging on the words, and then all of a sudden there was a space. I'm like, it was in spaces where I couldn't figure out what you were saying, and I was hanging on because I've done these lessons a few times, as a Course in Miracles, and I needed my background with the Course in Miracles to be where I am now, but it's like a person that's almost blind putting on glasses to listen to you bring us through on these things. Just one word would just make a huge difference and total getting the lesson. And so I just wanted to say that, and I know I've texted it to you, but I am so loving these lessons. I don't even remember when I've been so excited about doing any of these things. I don't know that I was ever that excited. And the other thing I wanted to say, I had it in my mind saying above all else, and then I had listened to your first meeting that you did like this, the first Zoom call, and you had a caller, she might be on here, and you were telling her above all else, and I'm just going like, wow. And then you said it in a lesson the other day, above all else, I am determined to see. And that was just my mantra. That's just like, above all else is my mantra for this. And I wanted to thank you for really helping me see these clearly, because when I go to that place and I'm just letting everything be, and then I extend love, it's just this full experience. It's like it's not just a full body experience. I feel like it's a full space experience. I don't know if I'm explaining that well or not,
Oh,
but
it sounded perfect to me.
that's really where they're taking me. And I just wanted to thank you. I just wanted to say that I didn't really have a question. I'm just loving doing this. So thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Yeah, thank you. I am too. I'm rewatching the lessons, and I had no idea that I was going to do what I did, and I just started doing it when I came back from that 2 month cross country journey with James Twyman. All of a sudden, I was inspired to start doing the workbook lessons again, and explaining them in the way that I was seeing and feeling them, because they were coming in so direct. I felt like, wow, I want to keep doing this. This feels good, and it felt good to me to to say the lessons, and even as I see them, like tomorrow is lesson 24, but I watched lesson 24 this morning, the non-dual lesson that I did, and oh my God, I loved what I said 18 months ago. It was awesome. So I'm enjoying it as much as you guys are, even though it's me. It's not in a sort of a proud way. It's just it feels good to see the freshness of these workbook lessons. What happens in the translation that was given to me is that they come in just by changing a few words, and it brings it in to a direct experience that I didn't have before I did this interpretation. Thank you, Bonnie, for those comments, and for texting me when we have a bad a glitch in the video. And Linda Joy. Hi, Linda Joy, are you there?
Yes, I'm unmuting. Am I here?
You're here.
Okay. I wanted to add to what I think Bonnie said about I am determined to see. And then I got real excited on the next one when it says I am determined to see differently. And I really took that one deeper in thinking how, oh yeah, wow, I can stop and see this way and that way. And but then I hit 22. And I know this struck me the first time I went through last year. And it's what I see is a form of vengeance. And I guess it's just their use of terms that kind of throws me off a little bit, because they talk about the savage fantasy and they kind of go into this. And you just clarify things so well, Bill. I just thought maybe you could speak to this one a little bit.
Speak to the lesson 22.
Yes.
What I see as a form of vengeance.
Yeah, the vengeance and the savage. We talk about the savage fantasy that we live in, and I get it, but I guess it's just interesting to me the words that they're using in this one.
Well, I mean, it's talking about the personal self sees that form of vengeance. It's what I see as a form of payback, what I see as a form of karma, and it's talking about using the body's eyes and perception. It sees a form of vengeance, and this is why the interpretation that I'm offering, or that I'm sharing, is saying don't look from there. We're looking, it's just giving you the contrast of where you're looking from when you see vengeance, when you see, and it's not different that's why when you go to lesson 23, the next one, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. And I'm saying, okay, we don't need to understand any of those, any of the specific details. When we rest as awareness, when we hold our position as the awareness of the experience, whether it's an attack thought, whether it's a grievance, whether it's a worry, a fear, something to do with finances, something to do with relationships, it doesn't matter what it is. You can escape from the world you see by resting as awareness. And set aside all of the mental parts of what the moving parts are. They don't really matter. The only thing that matters is that you take your position as resting as awareness, and when you bring those thoughts or those feelings or those emotions or those attack thoughts into that space, now you're bringing them back into the awareness, back into God's presence from which they rise, and they're just being included and washed in the love from which they arise.
Okay.
So this is why when we take our position as resting as awareness, that's where the miracle is. That's what the idea of forgiveness actually brings you to. It's what the Course calls the borderland, where the illusion and the truth lay side by side. And this is what happens when you are resting in awareness. You're resting as the awareness of love's presence, and the illusion and the truth are side by side. And when you bring the illusion into that experience, only the truth remains, because the illusion sort of divests its energy and its power and its influence because it's no longer being seen through the belief system that I am has given to the identification of the illusion or the body mind personal self experience.
Okay, so I can fall back onto anything unreal, nothing unreal exists, and nothing real can be threatened. You know, that kind of a basic, or move from fear to love.
Well, I mean, those are concepts that they're just really concepts until you bring it in as a direct experience. So nothing real is threatened. That's awareness. That's the awareness of love's presence. Nothing unreal exists. That's anything that's in the illusory world. And this understanding and this direct experience, herein lies the peace of God.
Okay.
This is where you have the experience that idea inscribes. Nothing real can be threatened. That's your I am that I am. Your awareness of love's presence. Nothing real can be threatened or is threatened. Nothing unreal exists. There's nothing unreal that exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So your only function needs to be, or can be, resting as awareness.
Okay. And if I find myself in anxiety or fear, that's a good time to do the pause and rest in God and those kinds of affirmations, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
That's the very best.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, it looks like Yada. Hey, Yada.
Yay, Yada! How are you guys?
I don't know. Yada, you're not special, but you're pretty special because you're just such a cheerleader, and I don't know. I just love it when you're in the house. Thank you for being here.
Same here, bro. So I was just, quick before people who don't know me, I did this with you the first time when you were actually doing them live. And I was, I had the amazing experience of having you as a teacher and living in oneness at the same time. So it was like, for me, it was just boom. It was mind blowing. And then next year after that, which was last year, I did them again. And then this year, because it's like your sadhana after you've done this. And so you're like, but sometimes you don't feel married to it anymore. It's not like you graduated from A Course in Miracle. But the point is, when I'm guiding everyone to go is to, in lesson 50, there's a meditation. And I know I've said this in some other places in calls, but that meditation, Bill, is where I got stuck in this third time. So now that meditation is based on the first 50 classes, is what I call them, of A Course in Miracle. And they work to work with what you're just telling her. And I love it because in that meditation, for me, it just wraps up everything you did, in that year. And now I don't have to do all the lessons or all the whole year. I just go back to the meditation and it's amazing. So anyone who's feeling those feelings, she was, our friend here was saying, or you're a little bit anxious because the ego will go like, this sucks, do some other thing. Just, you're like, resting in awareness is weird. It was very weird for me. The meditation helped me a lot. So it's there, it's hidden in lesson 50.
Lesson 50. Okay. So that's the 50 the first 50 workbook lessons.
Yes.
That I put to a meditation. It's about an 18-minute meditation.
Yes.
It's amazing. It was just, I was inspired to it just is a flow from one lesson to the next, but it's it's kind of an undoing meditation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love it. And I could do it for you now because I've been doing it so much that I could just go like, you know it by heart. So have a great day. Love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. this is a good place to sort of just mention that as we're sitting waiting, if someone doesn't have a hand up and we're just sitting in the pause experience, whenever you have idle time in your experience, that's a really great time to just practice giving your attention, resting as awareness without, it's kind of like what Bonnie said, only, it's like with no glasses, you don't see real specific details, but you see almost like a blur, and that's why when you're sitting with, nothing's going on, just be aware in a very general way without specifics. And that's a real good training experience for developing the movement where, workbook lesson 155, I will step back, the body self steps back and let him, it says him, but I like to take the pronouns out. I will step back and let it lead the way. Let awareness lead the way. And it becomes a new default. It's almost like a catch-all, a catch basket that everything can come into this space of pure presence, of your essential self. And Olivia, would you please unmute your mic and turn on your video if you feel like it?
Hi, I'm Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
And I'm a little nervous. First of all of this is incredibly affirming to me, just with personal experiences that I've had as far as the non-dual is something that I have had personal experience with. So I find all of this really affirming. What really came up for me was lessons 21 and 22, 20 and 21. They were very affirming and that's what it is. That's what I'm doing. That's what that's all about. And as these awarenesses pop up, so do other ones, which is, I am a recovering perfectionist. It's my perfection that is the thing that sparks the vengeance that I have towards myself. And so it's very exciting and affirming to have these, and I think I'll take my glasses off so you can see eyes, I just realized, but so it's very, very, it's like, so that's what it is, and this is what sparks that. So I'm so grateful for the awareness, and now is because I'm, the conditioning that I have, and the beliefs that were kind of fed into me growing up, they go down into my bone marrow, and I believe them for a long time, despite the experience that I've had. And so it's being incredibly grateful and in a place of gratitude for the awarenesses. And now it's like, okay, so it's to get those beliefs and make that the conditioning that goes into my bone marrow, the I am, and to have it go from here to my heart. And so I am incredibly grateful, and just wanted to give that feedback about the awarenesses that I've been getting, and any guidance on perfectionism that you might have, because it's so subtle. It's just very, very subtle with me, because it was all I knew for a very long time, and was surrounded by it and had a very good teacher, because I was surrounded by perfectionists growing up. Yeah. So anyway, and I'm 64 now, and so it's so it's any guidance on that?
Perfect timing. Yes. Well, first I would say awareness is the no judgment zone. So Olivia is doing what Olivia does, and there's no judgment. It doesn't need to be different. She doesn't need to change anything, because this is the no judgment zone. We watch as awareness Olivia do her thing, whatever that is, and we allow it to be what it is without judgment. And whether you call it perfectionism or being sloppy or being, whatever words you would use for the experience, and I'm saying those are opposites, but it's the same thing. So I would say you let Olivia can do what she's doing. The only thing that needs to occur is allow awareness to shine its light on that experience. It's the no judgment zone. It's what the Course in Miracles would call what the Holy Spirit does, only that's just a symbol of our essential self. That's just a symbol that's being used through the language of the Course. And if you just practice the pause as being aware of the silliness of Olivia, or the perfectionism of what she does, or what, it doesn't matter what it is, because what you're doing is you're allowing Olivia to be who she is without judgment. And that's just all of the conditioning, belief-based ideas and behavior. When they're seen without judgment, they are melting back into the I am presence. And then you're living from a place of inner peace and presence. And no matter what Olivia does or anyone else does, there's this undisturbed peace that pervades it and surrounds it. So that, and that takes some time, because there is some conditioning that seems to go into the bone marrow. And that has, even when that's seen for some time without judgment, it still seems to have a residual experience until it just doesn't. All of a sudden, you'll notice that the things that Olivia used to do, they just sort of go away. And or maybe they don't, but there's no judgment on them. And the experience that Olivia ends up having it ends up being a consistent experience of ebb and flow, and nothing disturbs her peace, and her judgment is just doesn't play in the play of the game anymore. And that's just it's just a new way of living in this bodysuit. And what's awesome about it is that what takes the place of the body, personal self behaviors and identities, and the things that we don't like about ourselves that we do anyway, those things sort of melt away. And what takes their place is just certainty and clarity and wisdom that we didn't used to have before. So, and also make sure you're gentle on yourself, and don't try to drive a speedboat. This isn't a race to get it done. This is resting as awareness, and let that lead the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
From my heart to yours. Thank you.
Same to you. Thank you. John Schriefer?
Hi.
Hi. Good to see you, John. Welcome.
Yeah, good to see you. Yeah. I having done the course, I got the impression as I was doing it that it's primarily about love, was what I was, as I was going through the lessons. So many of them mention love. And then looking at the introduction, it says the opposite of love is fear. But what is all encompassing has no opposite. Is that referring to awareness?
Oh, yeah.
All encompassing. So
Yep.
then really the course is about kind of noticing awareness, isn't it? Like,
Well, if you read the introduction I mean, it has 2 or 3 goals, probably 4 or 5 goals, but one of the goals of the course, it says the aim of the course is not to teach us what the meaning of love is, because love, because what love is cannot be described or cannot be taught. So its goal, the goal of the course is to remove. That's why the workbook lessons are given, it's in all these different levels and egoic. Our ego, this bodysuit conditioned self, personality self, is all ego based. That's infused with it also has love included in it, thankfully, but it's mostly ego based. And so the goal of the course is to remove the obstacles to the awareness of love's presence, right? That's the goal of the course, is to teach us it through mind training, through a new, through contrast, and through the mind training exercises within the course, to teach us to see through the lens of love instead of fear, even though fear is not true. Fear doesn't exist, because it would imply that there's an opposite to what we are. So it takes us on this journey, which I call the progressive path of undoing, helping us to remove the obstacles to the awareness of love's presence, which is our natural state. Well, if we remove the obstacles, and it's done in a very, and it drew me in because I was a Christian in my early years, and it drew me in because of its, because it was authored by Jesus, and it had this, very academic type, professors, psychologists at the scribe level. And so it drew me in as something that's sounds like it's true, could be real. And so it drew me in. The Christian terminology did. But after finding the non-dual understanding, even though the course is a beautiful document, I love it. It's the poetry of it. It's very cumbersome, and it has a lot of different levels, and people stay stuck in, what does this mean? What does that mean? And the Christian terminology is a turnoff. The pronouns keep you from having the direct experience of awareness. So if you're having the experience of, if somebody tells you that you are love, well, that word is loaded. You have, okay, so does love mean that that was mommy's love? Does that mean that that's the love that I have for my children? That's a feeling kind of a love mostly. And so I don't think the word love actually gets you there. But when you can come in contact in a direct experience with what is it that's aware of the experience, that is undeniably a direct experience that you can't not have, right? And when you look at what the course is saying again, the aim of the course is to remove the obstacles to the awareness of love's presence. If you remove the obstacles, what's left?
it would be just the awareness.
There it is.
You'd have awareness. Now, even if I had fear, like let's say I get angry or something, something happened, there's still, there can be awareness of that.
Yeah.
I sort of use that tool. Something happens and I think, oh man, here I'm doing the course and now I'm feeling like this. But then I realize I'm aware that I'm feeling like this, and that sort of steps me back from it.
It does.
And it's almost like that awareness is love in a weird sort of way. It has a loving sense to it or something.
Well, it's It absolutely is what love is, because when you think about it, even if you look at the terms that are used in the Bible, love doesn't do this, love doesn't do that, love is unconditional, love is, and if you take the bigger term, God is love, right? Without all the fear parts to it. Well, if you take awareness and you realize that everything, all inanimate objects, all animate objects, everything in the universe arises within awareness. And if you take awareness and you make it synonymous with consciousness, right? Not the consciousness that's described in the Course, because the consciousness that's described in the Course is the definition in the Course is that it's the consciousness of the personhood or of the ego, but consciousness in a non-dual term is the absolute. Consciousness is God is, or the isness of God. Consciousness is I am that I am. So if you take awareness and you take consciousness and you put them in the same place, and love is what consciousness is, and love is what awareness is, well, then love is without opposite. Awareness is without opposite. Consciousness is without opposite. So if you're resting in any of those ideas, if you're resting in whatever you can connect with, I connect with awareness, and I bring all of those things into that same place. And if you can connect with awareness and say, wow, awareness is what love is without opposite, everything comes into love. Now I can connect with love in a whole different way than I ever did. Love is all encompassing, and love doesn't hurt things. Love doesn't have opposites. Love doesn't have comparisons. There's no duality in love. And now I can see love with a new understanding, and it comes in as a more direct experience for me.
Yeah, that's what threw me off then. What I understand what you're saying. And then I went and looked at the introduction. It says the opposite of love is fear, saying that there is an opposite to love, but it's like there's a bigger love or something, like a
Well,
bigger.
in a relative sense, in a bodysuit, if you think that you're John, well, in a relative sense, love would seem to have an opposite. The love that we have ascribed to the meaning of love, we've given it a meaning. It has all kinds of conditions about it. Just like the label that we gave to God, we gave God the image that we wanted him to be, and that's what God has been for 10,000 years. And that's not God at all. What awareness is what God is.
Right. Okay, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Hi, Rana. Hey, Rana, can you unmute your mic?
Hello, Bill. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, hello.
Hello.
Good to see you all. And so enjoying this conversation today. Loving these Sundays. You know, anytime I can sit in a group of 60 like-minded people, I'll take it. And so thank you for being willing to do this.
Yeah, I love it.
I loved everything that's been shared. I could have repeated, you know, I found all those points just so interesting. The one thing that we didn't talk about yet is that minds are joined. And that has been such an incredible experience for me. I'll just say that there's some people here today that I have held in awareness and asked for awareness to speak to them, and they're here, you know, and that is just so exciting. when I first found Teachers of God, I tried to explain what I was learning to a few of these people, and they were like, what? You know, but I love the idea that minds are joined, and I can actually see the effects in my vision, in my seeing, when I've taken this time. And these lessons this week, you know, when it asks us to think of a person or an object of experience to fill in the blank, you know, things just pop, and it's without any judgment. I just have put them into that mantra, and I feel that peace. You know, these people can come and go and do whatever they want to do and just be themselves. You know, people are people-y, but I still have that peace inside of me. And I just really feel that joining, you know, together, like we all kind of are just pulling out of awareness these beautiful thoughts once we're willing to be in that present and to take the time, you know. And it doesn't take that much time, really. It's that holy instant, you know, you've talked about before. And I'm glad you brought up the borderland again, because that's been my gig, you know. That's where I bring everything these days. So just wanted to pass that along and ask you about one mind and minds are joined.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Rana. Well, there's many examples in the course of what that means, but as in a practical experience, how does it work? The mind is an activity, is an activity that is awareness in action. So it's coming from the same place. Awareness is the source of all things. So awareness is God in all things, and we are all that. And in awareness, there is the mind, where awareness, the intelligence of awareness, uses mind in movement. And when this awareness, this I am presence, thinks that it's a body, it's the mind that has split out of this awareness, and it thinks that it's a bodysuit until it doesn't, until it stops believing that it's a bodysuit. But it's always a mind. It's always within the mind of awareness, or it's always within the mind that awareness arises from, or that arises out of awareness. Let me get this straight. The mind is awareness in action, and awareness is the mind at rest. So when we're in what the Course calls our right mind, I call that awakening awareness. It's the mind that thought that it was separate, that's now awakening to the awareness of love's presence, to its identity, and it's still seemingly experiencing a bodysuit. And in that seeming experience of the bodysuit, we're still in the one mind that we share, that arises out of awareness. And in that experience, we can now be the embodiment of that understanding. We can be the embodiment, and the Course may call it the embodiment of the Christ. I like to think that Christ can be exchanged for the word understanding. When we come into the understanding of what we are and where all things arise from, we come into what is termed as Christ consciousness, but it's really just understanding. So we can take the Christian word and set it aside. It's really coming into understanding. And when we live in that place of awareness that's awakening awareness, and it has the understanding of our essential self, now when experiences come into our life, when there's someone that we know that is asking for prayer, we can pause. We can bring their name or their experience into our non-judgment zone of awareness, just being aware of it and allowing love to envelop that experience. We don't have to use words. We don't have to pray, oh, please, God, no, because you are what God is. So you're bringing this experience in the one mind that we share, the mind of God, that's the activity of awareness. And you're having a very real effect on this experience that's in the relative sense. It seems like it's in a bodysuit. But what we're doing is we're just extending and enveloping the holiness that we share into this experience of the one mind of God.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ron. It's great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Masako?
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. I just want to extend on what you said because it really drew my attention that love really is a loaded word. And so I just wanted to share my experience about that. And so love has many inspirations. It depends on the situation that I'm in the moment trying to resolve it. So for an example, when I am in this terrible entanglement with my husband and very intense, to be able to, first of all, recognize that I'm in my egoic system or my fear system, then I could actually make a choice of where I'm going to go from love or fear. And so in conflict with my husband, the inspiration there for me would be affinity and connection. There's times when I have been faced with significant health issues. And in those moments, what love turned out to be is really peace and harmony. And so there are just no limitation of these nuances that love is. From what I experienced, there is only one condition of love. It's about oneness. It's about the ability to unite with whatever that thing is, so we can remove ourselves from this duality. Or I also remember reading Joel Goldsmith. He's part of the New Thought teachers, and he says that that you're in your egoic system when you're in the pair of opposites, so POO. And I always think of it as poo, right? Whenever you're in your poo, right, that means you have chosen fear. Right. So I just wanted to elaborate my experience about the variance and the wide ranging of what love really is.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, love, it is loaded. And the word is loaded, but the essential self, when you just use it as a word, it's a symbol for our essential nature. It's the symbol that it gives that feelings actually arise out of, that are associated with the all-encompassing, without opposite, direct experience of our being, and it has an intimacy of itself that is then shared. And we, as a bodysuit, we put labels on it. We say, oh, love is this, love is that, but it's really the essential, all-inclusive container that all things rise out of. And it's the same thing as awareness, only it has an intimacy within itself that is infinite in intimacy.
Yeah. And it's funny because in one sense, it does feel very personal to me, and it's not. Right?
And it's not.
Yeah.
That's right. That's good to know. That's really good to know. Because when you think it's personal, it's definitely personal. And and from that is where suffering comes from. From that is where projections come from. From that is where identity, false identity, rises, and expectations and experiences that are that end up in conflict. Yeah. Thank you, Masako. It's good to see you today. We'll have one more question, and then that'll be it. Fern?
Thank you. And thank you for the depth that you bring to these teachings. Much appreciated. And for your dedication. And I was just wondering if you have ever considered sharing the teachings of Joel Goldsmith.
I love Joel Goldsmith. Yes, I read his books, several of his books about 10 years ago. He is he's a guy who was really devoted to practicing, living these principles. He was a prayer guy that would go to the one mind that we share. And he knew how. Remember that story about him when there was this thing in Congress that was being voted on, and he stayed up all night. And he goes, "Oh my, this is important for our country," and he just prayed, and he just held his experience in awareness. That's what I think happened, and he inspired the publisher of a big newspaper to put it on the front page of the importance of this issue. And because of that, a law was passed that was very important in the day.
Well, I would love it if you would consider taking Joel's teachings and sharing them. I think they are so timely for our day. And I would love to introduce you to a friend of mine who is an amazing student and teacher of Joel's work. So if you're open to that, maybe we can communicate on it.
Okay. Is that Wim?
No,
Okay.
it's, yeah, no.
Okay. Well, send me an email, and I'm happy to talk to this person. And I love Joel Goldsmith. That sounds really good.
That would be
All right.
amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Fern.
Bye.
All right. Well, we have about 2 minutes left. Let's just end our time together in awareness, the awareness of love's presence. Just bringing our attention to awareness. We are in this place that is all encompassing. Awareness of love's presence. Everything is welcome right here in this place of awareness. This is the sanctuary of God, of love, of pure presence. And this awareness is your direct experience as the essence of God. There is no place in this awareness, this pure presence, where God is not. All of the essence of the great sages, even Joel Goldsmith, Ramana Maharshi, Jesus, Buddha, Papaji, all the great sages are right. Their essence and vibration, it's held in this same place. We say hello to it, welcome. We're happy to share this place with you. And if there's anyone here that is having a situation in your life that is disturbed, that is confused, that's in conflict, bring that conflict in here. It's also love. No matter what it is, no matter what's going on, this experience that you're bringing into your thoughts, into your mind right now, this is also love. This is not separate. There is no separation in the mind of love, in the presence of I am. And you are this pure presence. Just breathe that in. And if you would want to affirm it, so it is. And thanks everyone for joining with us. And I'll see you next Sunday if you're here, 3 p.m. And enjoy the rest of your day and weekend.